do with my heart. Everything I do with my heart. I just love to love everything. I just love.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining Parent Trust for Washington Children's Fall Celebration. My name is John Wittgenstein. I'm the current board president at Parent Trust, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about why Parent Trust gets me excited and why I'm talking to you today before I hand it over to my co-presenter, Blythe Keller, another board member. Parent Trust is a passion of mine because it combines two things I care very much about and it really aligns with my values, which is education and prevention. Parent Trust really focuses on breaking cycles of negative behavior and really educating and preventing some of the most negative things we see in our society. And it does it from a place of positivity, kindness, and love. And these things just make me so excited, and I feel so empowered to be a part of this organization. The next 40 minutes are going to be a celebration of this, and I can't wait to share this with you all. But before I keep talking, let me hand it over to my co-host, Blythe Keller, so she can introduce herself. Over to you, Blythe.
Thanks, John. I couldn't have said it better myself. I support Parent Trust because I really believe in prevention, and I've been on the board for almost 12 years now, and it means even more to me now that I've had a child of my own. So thank you, everybody, for joining us for this hour in the middle of your day. We've got a great program lined up for you. We're going to kick off our event by hearing from Teresa, one of our amazing parent leaders. Parent leadership is one of the cornerstones of Parent Trust, and research backs that up. Often, parents who have already been through tough experiences and come through the other side, just like Teresa, are the best coaches to help other parents do the same.
Today, we're also going to be honoring our 2022 Children's Champions, renowned local artists and longtime Parent Trust supporters, Dale Rieger and Terry Jo Summer Rieger. Dale and Terry Jo know well how tough parenting can be, and their long-going and outstanding commitment to Parent Trust for decades has ensured that thousands of families are safer and stronger today.
And last but not least, hundreds of families have asked us, how can we help our teens deal with these incredibly difficult times? What do I do when my teen needs help? Speaking as a teenager, Allie is going to help us answer these very important questions. Allie is a youth ambassador for Eastside chapter of the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Allie and Barbie will tell us about youth mental health first aid. You heard that right, mental health first aid. Everyone should know about youth mental health first aid, so stay tuned. At Parent Trust, we believe in helping families before stress and adversity become tragedy. Prevention has the power to change our world. 1.5 million children live in Washington state, and 80,000 babies are born in our state each year. Mine was one of those 80,000 in 2021. It's hard to believe it's been over a year. We're a statewide child abuse prevention organization, and we equip the families, parents, and caregivers of all of those 1.5 million children to raise safe, healthy, and strong children. It's your support, your donations that get the work done. Together, we can keep kids safe. We'll keep our donation information up on our screen throughout the program so you know just how to give.
Just to entice you a little bit more to give, we're currently doing a board match where we're doubling any donation you put in there. So when you do look to give, and you really should, you can go through our website, which is parenttrust.org, through our Facebook page, our Instagram profile, or by texting the word donate to 855-933-3771. You can also use the QR code on the side of the screen via your phone. But let's not leave any of that match money on the table. Let's donate today. Before we get into the meat of the program, we also want to really acknowledge and thank our sponsors, who, like you, believe in prevention and are committed to the mission of Parent Trust and supporting parents before they're in crisis. So with that, we want to give our many thanks To KPMG, our gold sponsor. KPMG is an international network of firms serving the business community throughout the world. K2 Vision, a comprehensive vision care practice. The NAMI Eastside, which is the Eastside chapter of the National Alliance on Mental Health. We're going to hear a lot from them a little later on in the program. It's very exciting. The Sayer Hochstuhl Wright family and the Rapatnich family. On behalf of the board, the staff, and the whole Parent Trust team, thank you so much for your ongoing support.
Our sponsors, especially the companies and families who sponsor us through thick and thin, make such a difference, as do our repeat donors. We're going to be talking to you more about that later, but as we introduce you to Teresa, the parent leader we will be hearing from next, it's important to remember that the commitment we all make to prevention makes our work possible. Parent Trust partners with other nonprofits and agencies all over Washington state. These partnerships bring our programs to families we might not otherwise reach. Our stability, our long history, and your support creates the framework that makes these relationships possible. Teresa's story, her path from homelessness to parent leader, exemplifies this.
Our parent support groups are led by professional facilitators and parent leaders. They meet weekly across the state to solve critical family problems and support one another as they learn new skills and build new futures for their families. We work with parents in recovery from substance abuse addiction in both inpatient and outpatient settings across the state, from Everett to Spokane. And we also provide parenting groups focused on supporting families overcoming homelessness, which unfortunately is a problem that is on the rise. Teresa is a fabulous parent leader from one of these groups. Let's hear from her directly.
So for Parent Trust Group, I want to say I've been going since right about the time COVID hit. It's good a lot of times to hear like other people's inputs on ways to, solve issues or way to look at things outside of your own perspective. I would have to say my favorite thing is the interactions with other families that are going through the same issues and was trying to get out of a situation before it became a domestic violence situation is what put me in the homeless category. I have a 19-year-old who has health issues. She's got diagnosed with Hashimoto's at 16. Then I have a 12-year-old we just got diagnosed about 2 years ago on the autistic spectrum. And then I have a now 8-year-old who was a super preemie. She came at 23 weeks. And we're actually just now figuring out some of her health issues due to that. But she's had some developmental delays. I was working 2 jobs, staying in a motel room with my kids. Because, getting through the homelessness is one thing. Parenting is one thing. But then getting through the homelessness with having kids, that's a completely different ball game. And for me, it was like either I worked or I took care of my kids when we were homeless. I couldn't do both. It is my ultimate goal since I've started getting out of the homeless situation and I've had so much help. So I am looking at making a career change myself, actually, because it is something I am very passionate about and want to make sure people know that there are supports and programs out there. Actually, starting this winter, I just got my FAFSA filled out. I'm going to be starting college to go, and the field I want to go into is a field counselor. It's a mixture between a counselor and a social worker. And I specifically want to go with work with homeless families. Being in group and being around like other families, it made me realize how much more help and support needs to be out there. Especially for families like mine and like some of the others that fall through the loopholes.
Wow, it's hard to even know what to say. We've had so many parents from our groups completely turn their lives around, but hearing all Teresa has been through and is still grappling with, her commitment to paying it forward is incredible. And I have to say how proud I am of Teresa and proud that she's a part of our organization and that she's so inspired to continue her own education, to continue that commitment to other families in Washington. That's super awesome. As I said, I'm a new mom and parenting is hard. It's just a fact. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but some days are super hard. I just sent my kiddo off to swim lessons, and boy, just remembering, did I pack all the right stuff? That is hard enough. Not to mention all of the other things that we have to layer on day to day just to manage to keep going. And I have so many resources, and so it should be easy for me, but we all need help sometimes. And that's why I'm so proud to be supporting other parents through Parent Trust. So please join me. Today, we can change lives. We can give every parent somewhere to turn in our groups, through our family helpline, in our classes and workshops. Just imagine all the lives Teresa is going to change just on her own.
And one thing we can all do is support Parent Trust, like Blythe just said. And again, right now, the board is matching your donations dollar for dollar. So it's a great time to take advantage and reach into your pocket and donate a little bit. And how can you do that? Well, you can do that through our website, which is parenttrust.org, via our Facebook page, our Instagram profile, by texting the word donate to 855-933-3771, or using your phone to scan the QR code on the side of the screen. Our parent groups rely on our parent leadership. Our parents do so much to drive the tasks and make our groups work and build our communities. Teresa's already known for reaching out to families, making sure they know where the key resources are available to them, and recruiting new people to attend her Parent Trust groups. Over and over, parents are telling us that seeing their peers succeed gives them hope and shows the way for how they can change their own lives and take agency and control. Our parent leaders build this hope in the lives of other families. On top of that, we've all been struggling with the pandemic. The pandemic hit so many families and so many communities hard, and its financial, social, and emotional hardship and fallout is ongoing. So many families are struggling and are still struggling in so many ways. And we're going to talk more about that later. But in times like these, it's not just the parents that are struggling in the families. Teens are facing their own hardships and crises and need our support. And one way, especially, is the ongoing national emergency in youth mental health that's affecting thousands of families on a daily basis.
Parent Trust has been working for decades to help families overcome long histories of ACEs or adverse childhood experiences. Our research-based programs help families build resiliency so parents and children can overcome their family histories and start to build a legacy of positive childhood experiences. We're so glad that you're a part of the Parent Trust team. And this year, we're honoring 2 longtime Parent Trust ambassadors as our 2022 Children's Champions, Dale Rieger and Terry Jo Summer Rieger. Dale was on the board of Parent Trust for many years, like myself, and he is a past board president. He introduced Terry Jo to the organization many years ago, and they are both steadfast supporters and true prevention advocates.
Dale and Terry Jo live on Whidbey Island and are locals to the Seattle community and the Washington community, and both have extensive family ties to Eastern Washington. To say they're plugged into Washington would be an understatement, and we feel that here at Parent Trust. Terry Jo is a textile artist, and Dale is a painter and glass artist. All the beautiful glass houses that you've been seeing on today's fund drive is Dale's work. And we're honored that Dale let us share his images of his art in our fundraising drives. We asked Dale and Terry Jo to talk to us about their decades-plus commitment to Parent Trust, about their artwork. Here, in that conversation with Lynn, our development director.
My name is Lynn Marshall, and I am the development director for Parent Trust, and I am lucky enough to be here with our 2022 Children's Champions, Dale and Terry Jo. And I want to start just by introducing them to all of you.
Yeah, I'm Dale Rieger, and we're very happy to receive the Children's Champion Award for 2022. It's a big honor for us, and we're really appreciative of Lynn coming up to Whidbey Island to give us this award.
We're very grateful, and we weren't expecting this at all. We just continue to want to contribute however we can.
Your support throughout the pandemic, it's made such a difference to our families, and your consistent support for so many years. I mean, it's a long history, and you've been one of our sustaining funders for such a long time.
There was a fair number of years there that I was deeply involved, and I know we've made some progress in the years that I was involved.
Because I know you're also very passionate about prevention and about breaking the cycle of intergenerational trauma. So I want to be sure that we hear a little bit both
Yeah.
your art and your commitment to Parent Trust.
Well, I'm fortunate that my son lives 20 minutes down the road because the early days of his life were fraught with a lot of drama. And as I became a single parent and felt the support of the community around me, living in West Marin at the time, in this little town, you know, I embarked on a whole other awareness about family structure and so forth. And then in my own personal journey, I've done you know, some deep dives to understand more about things like, you know, the acronym ACE for adverse child experiences and so forth, and then hearing about positive childhood experiences. That gives me, you know, it's very inspiring. Yeah,
That's
so
wonderful.
thank you for your work, your ongoing commitment and so forth.
Again, the thanks today is all ours. So thank you both for again for the ongoing commitment. It means the world to us. So, and to all the families that we serve. So it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
What about Parent Trust has resonated with you that you've stayed with us all these years? Because I know that you have other nonprofits that you support, other causes that are important to you. So I did want to ask, what keeps you coming back?
I had the impression that Parent Trust was a very viable organization, and it was it served a need that was not fulfilled by a lot of other organizations. Most of the nonprofits we support, for one reason or other, happen to be medical backgrounds, Doctors Without Borders, for example, Partners in Health, and Parent Trust. I was a single father half the time, and I learned a lot about tantrums, and it caused me to be more compassionate towards someone that couldn't really control circumstances that would cause them to have these tantrums. And so I understood the parenting situation in ways that maybe some other people didn't, because I had this tantrum issue lasted for years.
Right.
And so Linda and I actually would talk about that years ago, about these things that were coming up for me. And you know, there is no handbook for parenting, as they say, okay? And obviously you have the background that the parent brings and the background the child brings, and so the personalities, and so it's just a difficult dynamic how this plays out. And if it's nice to have some help and somebody like the Parent Helpline, somebody can call and say, well, gee, so-and-so is doing this now, what should I do? Or how do I handle that? That's a big advantage, and I probably should have been calling the helpline myself. But anyhow, there's just a lot of dysfunction in our society, and a lot of that comes from dysfunctional families. And so if we can break that cycle of dysfunction, we're going to have things work better in our society as a whole.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, I'm just enchanted by your glass houses. And I love the imagery of home, and they're gorgeous. And I recently, in Langley, I got the chance to see one of them with the light underneath, even though it was in full daylight, and the way the intermixture of the artificial light from inside the house and the way the light just is, I don't know, dazzling on the outside of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that structure of home is so strong and symbolic, and I wanted to ask you just a little bit about those pieces and how they came about and what they mean to you, because they're stunning.
Well, actually, I was making tables, like 1-inch thick tables, cast tables. And Terry Jo and I were down in Palm Springs, and we went to the museum in Palm Springs, and they had some Dale Chihuly work there, and I appreciated some of that early work that he did. And so I started thinking about that, and I thought, well, I could make not something like his, but I could make something that's, you know, not 1 inch thick, but half an inch thick. And what can I do? It's just like plywood. So that's how the idea of a house came about. And so I started making houses, and then one thing led to another, and I started making other structures, and I got a bigger kiln, and then I got a bigger kiln than that. And so that's kind of how that happened. But the idea, because I was at one time, before Parent Trust, I was actually buying houses and fixing them up and selling them. This is before they had the word flipping houses,
Right.
but this was back like in the 70s. And so I was doing that, and you know, plywood, and the idea of building something, the home, and how important it is to the American family. Those all became part of it. And then how do you build a house? So I always try to put on my 4 sides of a house, I always try to put a door, and I don't put a back door, I only put a front door. So you can get in, but you can't get out necessarily. So there's always a door, sometimes, and then there are windows on the front side for the most part, and on the back there could be windows, but there doesn't have to be.
Gotcha.
So you can get in, but you can't get out.
They're illuminated from within. And,
Right.
and people are happy
Yeah.
looking at them and having them in their space.
That's certainly my reaction to them, is they bring me great joy, and until today, actually, I had only seen the photos of them. So for me, it was really interesting to see the actual piece out in the sculpture garden in Langley, and it was just, yeah, I already had that reaction from the photographs, particularly you have to.
You can look through the houses, you can look in to a certain extent, and then they radiate out, and you can, depending on the light and the circumstances, you can actually see one side to the other, depending on how dark the glass is.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, glass is fascinating for, you know, the translucent.
Right, all the different qualities, and I'm sure different lighting, different times of day, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. And most of the pieces are iridized glass, and I also use dichroic glass, both of which are very, flashy, they're flashy, they irradiate a lot of color.
Gotcha.
So that's just part of the way they kind of worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your art, Joe,
Okay,
please.
well, it happened by accident because I was really immersed in a lot of environmental work, and I was a inspector for California Certified Organic Farmers and doing all that kind of thing, land use. And then I started making things on a treadle sewing machine, and then I got a solar panel and had a 12-volt motor attached to it.
Fantastic.
For an industrial, and then it was just happenstance. I got stopped a couple times. Where did you get that?
Yeah.
Like making a bag, and within a year, I was showing a collection in New York.
And so now there are grandchildren in the mix, and so I can't say that we're, you know, exactly. I don't know what I know what we kind of glamorize our role would be, but what we're actually imparting to them is not clear to me. Yeah, but hopefully it's good.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it is, but it's easy to say that glibly. But I think it's really interesting because you never know when you're in the moment, right? It's later on. It's later on that those things happen.
It's like the positive input. It's not measurable, so that's part of it. I knew this woman in Cincinnati that started this art school in the inner city, and she was like, "This is going to make such a difference," and da da da. And she was like, she just really needed to know that this was going to be a change maker. And I accidentally said, "How would you know?" I mean, it's faith, right?
Right, exactly. And I think that's what you need to support prevention work, essentially.
Right.
That's what we're all here for. It's what we're all gathered for, is because we're supporting the prevention of child abuse and working to break the break the cycle of intergenerational trauma. And I think you brought that home beautifully, is that's what it takes is faith that the work that we're doing now is going to bear fruit for generations and make a difference.
Yes.
So again, thank you so much for being our children's champions this year and for supporting Parent Trust. We really appreciate you taking the time to share this with all of us today.
Yeah. Well, I think we see it as a collaboration. Yeah. Yeah. So again, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to be part of the team.
You are, and you're, again, thank you, and this has just been fabulous. So thank you again for being.
Great.
Yeah.
I give you our 2022 Children's Champions, Dale and Terry Jo.
Yeah. And we encourage everyone to participate on whatever level they can. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lynn.
Thank you so much, Dale and Terry Jo. We are so delighted and proud to have you as our 2022 Children's Champions. For anyone that wants to see more of Dale's work, you can go to his website at www.dalerieger.com. And if you want to see more of Terry Jo's work, you can go to her website at www.terryjosummer.com. Photos on both their websites are wonderful, and Dale has his art displayed publicly across Washington cities of Auburn, Langley, and Anacortes. We're going to end our program with something really practical and inspiring. We've all been reading and grappling with our society's ongoing mental health crisis. News about this is everywhere. Well, at Parent Trust, we're particularly concerned with the skyrocketing rates of mental health issues for our teens. This trend started before the pandemic, but like everything with COVID, it's only escalated and gotten faster, bigger, and stronger. But to deal with this, our family helpline is frequently fielding calls from parents looking for resources for teens experiencing mental health issues. Parents are worried.
And so are teachers and other professionals at every grade level and in every type of program that works with youth. That's why we've invited the Eastside chapter of the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI Eastside, Washington, to give us some practical advice on helping young people facing a mental health challenge. If you haven't heard of Mental Health First Aid, it's a course like learning CPR that we can all take to be ready to help a person struggling with mental health issues. And there's a special course directed at helping teens. It's called Youth Mental Health First Aid. And learning about it is one way to take positive action to help the teens in our lives. We're going to hear directly from Allie, a youth ambassador for NAMI Eastside. She's got great advice for the parents of teens. With that, I'll let Executive Director of NAMI Eastside, Barbie Collins-Young, introduce herself and Allie.
Hello, I'm Barbie Collins-Young. I'm the Executive Director for NAMI Eastside, and we're a community-based 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we're committed to improving the quality of life for those impacted by a mental health condition through advocacy, education, and support. So thank you to Parent Trust for asking us to share with you. I'm a trainer for Youth Mental Health First Aid, and I have a lot of passion around our youth. We've been working to educate our youth and give them the tools that they need to get out of this crisis. And I recommend Youth Mental Health First Aid to anyone who interacts with our young people. So parents, family members, teachers, any organization. So what you learn here will give you the confidence to recognize mental health challenges, to see a crisis, and give you the tools to know what to do. A trusted adult is a protective factor, and we thank you for being part of the solution. And at NAMI Eastside, we have a Youth Ambassador program that we started last year. It's a student-driven program, and we have one of our founding members, Allie, who will share what she would love adults to know. Here's Allie.
Hi, everyone. As we know, mental health has been an issue for a very long time, but following the pandemic, it has become an unavoidable crisis. This is something we need to be addressing, and I'm glad to have parents like you who are interested in starting these conversations. And one of the best kind of pieces of advice I can give to you is just to be open to the idea that you might not be able to fully recognize what's happening with your child. As I know with me, when I was going through one of the worst mental health crises of my life, I was a straight A student. I hung out with friends, I was active in sports, and even with that, I was still struggling with panic attacks daily and other things. So just being reminded that mental health is an internal struggle. And I know a lot of friends who've gone to parents and them being like, well, you seem okay. And it's like, yeah, well, they seem okay, but inside they're not. So we have to just be open to that and just really lead with empathy in these conversations. If a child comes to you with a concern, make sure to focus on validating their feelings and not saying things like, just get over it or just try to cheer up, because that doesn't make you feel like a safe space to come to their thoughts and concerns with. And, we're always told to go to a trusted adult. And if we go to a trusted adult and we're shut down, it makes them a lot less likely to move forward in receiving the care that they need. So, like I said, leading with empathy, try to use questions like, how can I support you? Or just kind of digging deeper to understand what's going on so that you can really kind of find the root of the problem and start to begin providing them with resources and just your personal emotional support. During this time, I know that kids are just feeling a lot of pressure, and it's really important to just focus on who your child is becoming and not necessarily just like what they're achieving or those things, just like their personality and their values, because that's really the critical points of their being. It's not that A on a test. So just kind of having that perspective is really important in, this journey towards empathy. One of the best ways to instill positive habits is to show them. If you're having a stressful day, if you're feeling overwhelmed, showing them how you're taking a step back, and maybe that's having a cup of tea or going for a walk. Whatever that means for you, that's great to show them and, be vocal about it. Be like, here's what's going on with me and this is what I'm doing, so that they can make that connection and they can apply that to their own lives. Educating yourselves on the condition or on major conditions like anxiety and depression can be really important when we're looking at trying to prevent things from leading to crises, as you can be able to see the symptoms early on. And above all, when we're having these conversations, being able to prioritize the youth perspective is just amazing, because we are the ones that truly understand what we're going through. So if we can raise youth voices, that's going to be really critical to addressing this conversation. And the major thought I would really like to leave you with is, while you cannot control whether your child develops a mental health condition, you can control your reaction. So just remember to educate yourself, and that you are your child's greatest advocate. And that is such a powerful position to be in. So it's important to use it wisely. Youth mental health first aid is a great way to prepare yourself with the skill set to approach these conversations, as this topic can be very overwhelming. However, getting involved will give you access to a community filled with information and resources that will make sure that you're ready when the time comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Allie and Barbie. That was terrific. You can, of course, find more information about youth mental health first aid online. And if you have questions or concerns about a teen in your life, please call our family helpline. We're showing the number on the bottom of our screen, 1-800-932-4673. Our parent coaches are experts at helping families find the resources they need.
At Parent Trust, we talk about our work with families and babies and young children a lot, but I want everybody to remember that we work directly with adolescents and teens in our SMART program. And our SMART program stands for Stress Management and Relaxation Training. Our SMART program happens in high schools, in classrooms, and where teens are experiencing their daily lives. It's about teaching young people to recognize and manage their stress on their own before they fall into crisis. Our SMART program is prevention and education in action.
Our SMART instructors focus on helping teens recognize and work through daily stressors. We teach teens that it is smart to take time for their mental health and to ask for help when they need it. The best part of this is that teens tell us it works. Here's a quote from one teen SMART participant. I have always struggled with dealing with emotions in healthy ways, so having these strategies will be very useful in my daily life. Your support is what makes this happen. Thank you so much for supporting Parent Trust.
And again, we have this beautiful board match on the table right now, so your donations are going to be doubled in impact if you give today. And we would so very much appreciate that. Again, you can give through our website, parenttrust.org, through our Facebook page, through our Instagram profile, or by texting the word donate to 855-933-3771. You can also use your phone to scan the QR code on the side of the window. With that, we'd like to close it out and again, thank our event sponsors. So many thanks for the ongoing commitment of KPMG, our gold sponsor, of K2 Vision, of Name Eastside Washington and the fantastic presentation Barbara and Allie just put on, the Sire Hookstuhl Wright family, and the Rapanich family.
Thanks to Doug Wolf for the beautiful music you heard before and we'll hear again after our program. Thanks to Jonathan Hauser, our technical wizard. He makes this all happen on screen. And thanks to all of you for joining us today.
And on behalf of all of us here at Parent Trust and the Parent Trust family, thank you so much for your support and ongoing support. We hope you have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you soon at our next event. Thank you.
Everything I do with my heart. Everything I do with my heart. I just love, love to love everything. I just love.
Thank you.